Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the mini after story. We are reading through Kazusa's ending, chapter 3. So, Kazusa and Haruki are married at this point, and they've come back to Japan to kind of work out some of the business dealings of Kazusa and Yoko-san. Yoko-san is unfortunately very sick with leukemia, though it is in remission. It's been about 3 years since her diagnosis. Yoko's also pestering them to have a marriage ceremony. That was kind of the main goal of her bringing them to Japan, but she's not giving them the where or the when. She did suggest that they go see their old friends. And that is where we left off. So let's go ahead and continue. Chapter 3. Kazusa. Hey, Kazusa, wake up already. Come on. The light shining in through the enormous high-rise hotel window was already flooding the entire room. And somehow, in this blindingly bright room, my sleeping beauty in the bed had yet to wake up. Granted, this scene was the same regardless of what country we were in. I love that Kazusa's a late sleeper. It's very fitting for her lazy character. Hey, what time is it? It's almost 11. Well, at this point I had no reason to be surprised or to lament. When Kazusa wasn't playing the piano, she was always like this. Why would you wake me up at this ungodly hour? At least let me sleep until lunch. Okay, well that's pushing it a little bit. I'm already starving. I want lunch now. As for me, I had been awake for 5 hours already. Look, even I couldn't keep looking at this girl's sleeping face forever. Well, no, I wasn't tired of it, but I seriously was so hungry that I could hardly stand it. Waking up at 6 a.m. Their going to sleep schedule must be so different. Because Haruki must go to bed pretty early to wake up at 6, unless he's still just running off of 5 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, or less. Call up room service or something then. Come on. No, get up. We're going out. Where? It matters not. What are you, a poet? We're finally back in Japan. We should take advantage of it, right? We did make a promise to Yoko-san last night. Maybe it was going a little far to call that a promise, but Kazusa still hadn't objected in the moment. Of course, she hadn't out and out agreed to it either, but let's have lunch in the lounge and then we can discuss where to go. For now, get dressed. I'm not going. I'm gonna sleep forever. Don't we all wish that you could just sleep forever? You seriously don't have anything to do? Have you miraculously finished all of your work for the year? I'm just tired of going out. I would much rather keep you inside forever, Haruki. That would tire you out even more than going out. She's so suggestive. She's so lewd. Anyway, I said that I'm not going out, so I'm not going. Stay here with me, Haruki. Why don't we watch some stupid suspense movie or something together? If you already know it's stupid, why would you watch it? I could keep whining like a child as much as I wanted, but I knew Kazusa was never going to say, "It's fine, just go out on your own." And she would never say that because she's so scared of being alone and being left behind for someone else. I mean, there isn't anywhere I want to go or anybody I want to see. Why don't you go and visit your friends? I didn't know whether Yoko's parting words were intentional, whether they were forced, or whether she was teasing us. In any case, I was certain she knew exactly what she was talking about. Because Yoko's not stupid, Yoko's privy to a lot more information than she's directly given, because she's able to see things clearly. And she's also the parent, so I feel like she has kind of a keen eye for these things. But look, you've already been forgiven, is what I wanted to say. in Vienna 6 months ago. A visitor we never imagined, an impossible reunion, a miraculous reconciliation. But that doesn't mean you don't want to see her? I do, but I can't make myself go. Kazusa. Even if she's forgiven me, I still can't forgive myself. I liked her. I really admired her. I knew that. Somehow, she loved someone like me, and yet What's your deal, Haruki? Are you telling me you're going to see her? I wanted Kazusa to save me, but this wasn't a situation I could be saved from. We really hadn't grown at all in the past 3 years. Neither I nor Kazusa. And this is showing a little bit of her jealousy here as well, because although she's saying you're going to see her, she clearly doesn't want Haruki to go on his own, but she's too scared to go with him. So in that sense, yeah, it seems like they haven't grown. Like I said, I'm not going out. It's just for a walk. It should be fine, shouldn't it? In the end, it took about 30 minutes to get the grumbling Kazusa out the door. We had our lunch without incident, and by the time we exited the hotel, the weak winter sun had already passed due south. Who thinks like this? This is way too poetic to be just regular thoughts. And what are we supposed to do if we run into someone? Where do you think we are? We're in Tokyo. There are 10 million people in this city. What are the odds of a coincidence like that? Actually pretty high, considering how many random coincidences happen in White Album too. But look, the day we got here, plenty of people must have seen our faces. It's fine. The Kazusa Touma boom has long since passed. Don't underestimate the fickleness of the Japanese public. How can that possibly be okay from a managing standpoint? I've thought of countermeasures for that. Anyway, just come with me for a little while. I don't wanna. Kazusa, now fully awake and fed, still was loath to move and clutched at my sleeve, forcing me to drag her along. Nevertheless, with some effort, I took Kazusa outside and into Japan. Because he really wants her to get out of her room and go do something, and because they have to face the past. Ah, here we are. Our first sightseeing spot. Huh? We're still in front of the hotel. Come on, Kazusa, this scenery isn't familiar to you at all? Scenery? It's just the front of the Onjugu station. This same old telephone booth is still here. Huh? When you were on the run from those reporters, you dropped your wallet, your phone, everything. I can't believe this. Of all the phone numbers I have, this is the only one I remember. What the hell is wrong with me? With a 10 yen coin you found, you used this box to call my phone. Whoa, I'm leaving. I'm leaving now. And with a pitiful voice, like an abandoned dog. You're the one with the pitiful voice. Abandoned dog. Don't call her that. Don't use the word abandoned around her. It's very triggering. It's not nice. But Kazusa's always being compared to being a dog. I mean, so much of the merchandise around her has her with the dog ears or the dog tail, and that's why. Well, naturally, because you sounded so pitiful. I rushed over here in a panic, and you were soaking wet, shivering violently, and I thought, wow, she really does look like an abandoned dog. That's rich coming from the owner who abandoned me. Now, don't turn on me. I could say the same to you, stupid. Don't go saying stuff to set my teeth on edge like that. Not now, dumbass. Well, it's only because after all this time, I still have an idiot with me who keeps pulling the same old line. That's because it's you, dumbass. Yes, with my best effort, I took Kazusa out with me into Japan. I wasn't going to let us just sink into degeneracy on our own, the way we had once before. It's good that he's trying. And this is what Kazusa really needs. She needs someone who's going to force them to do things. She needs to be told what to do. She needs to be made to, like, eat and clean and do everything, you know? She doesn't cook, she doesn't clean. So someone like Haruki is keeping her straight, keeping her on the up and up. It's very important. No matter how much we got hurt, how painful it was, we would continue to live in contact with the outside. I had decided to keep living, even if it meant sometimes hurting others or being hurt myself. Here, have a look in the mirror. Oh, I see. That's your countermeasure? Your tastes and methods haven't changed a bit. I made sure to choose things that would go together, okay? So, how about it? Kazumi Tono-san? A comb to decorate her hair, a pair of fashion glasses, a scarf, and a hat. And a false name. I had given these to Kazusa 3 years before. And this was where I had given her everything outside of the false name. A shopping mall in Onjugu, a few minutes' walk from the hotel. The incognito Kazusa from 3 years before was so funny to me. Because it literally looked exactly like Kazusa. And maybe it's just because we're the players of the game and like other people wouldn't recognize her, but it just looks exactly like Kazusa. The arrangement of the stores and the layout had changed just a little bit, but all of the stores that had been there when we went shopping before remained. But now that I'm looking at it again, glasses really don't suit me at all. Really? I think they look great on you, especially with that hairstyle. That's because you're my husband. I can't exactly take your opinion at face value. Oh, thanks. As ruthlessly as she disparaged my aesthetic sensibilities, I could tell that she was secretly pleased. That's cute. You gotta compliment them. Even if you're like, she looks better without glasses, it's still nice to send out the compliment. Plainly, in a good humor, and wearing all of the accessories I had purchased for her, she began walking ahead of me through the mall. See, now she has her confidence now that she thinks she's not going to be recognized. That's all it took. Hey, Haruki, why don't we go get something sweet? I think there's a rascal in the underground level. We've come all the way back to Japan, so why don't we get red bean soup or something like that? All right, we can do that afterward. Come on, let's hurry. No, hang on. We don't have to go jumping around from shop to shop. If you want pudding, you can save it for when we get back home. You are underestimating the smoothness of Rascal's pudding. You can't even get a texture like that in Europe. Putting aside whether or not that's actually true, it's cold out. Why don't we get something warm? I told you I'll take you there afterward. God, you're fussy. I could turn that line right back around at you. Why don't we pick up the pudding to go and take it with us? No way. I want to eat it now. I am not budging on that. I'll eat 3 in the shop, and then I'll have them wrap up 12 more. How does this girl not have diabetes? Eat 3 puddings, and then take 12 puddings home. That is just silly. That's just silliness. You won't have any room for dinner. What are you talking about? Dessert goes to a different part of the stomach. You know that. I totally understand what she is saying there. Fine. Do whatever you want. Oh, that's right. Once we've warmed ourselves up with the red bean soup, we'll have to get ice cream. And then, are you trying to freeze me to death? Yes, she was definitely in a good mood. In fact, maybe she was getting a little carried away. I finally feel like myself again. This way, Haruki. Around the time that we left the shopping mall and started ambling around the streets of Onjugu, our senses of initiative made a complete switch. Well, I mean, Kazusa had her pudding. Now she's super energized and feeling good. Look at you. That's just pathetic. Don't tell me you've got food poisoning just from eating that much. Food poisoning is usually about the ingredients, not the amount. That said, my blood sugar right then must have been at a seriously dangerous level. Still, Kazusa hadn't eaten the same amount that I had. In fact, she had probably taken in twice the amount of sugar. What kind of iron digestive tract does she have? Well, she's had many years of training. Hey, why don't we head back toward the hotel? We could watch a stupid end-of-year variety show or something. Why would we watch something if we already knew it was stupid? And so, heedless of the way I was holding my stomach and groaning, continued ascending the hard concrete stairs. It's funny when she turns her words back against him. Hey, seriously, wait. Come on, just a little more. You can do it, Haruki. A little more, and then what? Oh. And there, right where we came up, was a certain building. Just as huge and self-important as ever, a hall where you can't feel a shred of tradition. Yeah, now that you mention it, it was here. It was the Onjugu Arts and Culture Hall. Huh? You know this place, Haruki? I thought you'd never been here before. Ah. Yes, the venue for Kazusa Touma's first public performance in Japan. And for her additional performance held a mere month later. I played here twice, but you never once came to see me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Tickets sold out immediately for both shows, and even now, the additional performance was considered practically legendary. Oh, Kazusa wanted to see Haruki in the audience. Although it probably would have been extremely distracting if he had showed up randomly. Like, oof. And in the end, I couldn't make it to either one of these monumentally valuable concerts. Nah, it's okay. No, but I mean, it's because you didn't come to either of those concerts that you and I are where we are today. Yeah, I guess you're right. That's a really mature way to look at it. Sometimes bad things happen, but it leads you into the future. You can still be hurt by them, but try not to cling to them. There was no point in talking about hypothetical branching futures, saying, if such and such a thing had happened back then, since we weren't in any of those branching futures. Right now, I was with Kazusa. And even though we had turned our backs on the land of Japan, we had been able to return once again. We needed no more than this. No outcome other than this. That's beautiful. I love that. Incidentally, my mother once held a concert here too. Yeah, I remember. I had even received tickets, but I wasn't able to make it to that one either. Oh yes, because you wrote that beautiful article and she sent it directly to your publishing company. Well, I guess it wasn't as widely talked about as my own concerts though. That estimation is probably something that should be determined between the two of you next time. Oh, the mother-daughter fights. The clock was getting toward 10 p.m. We really had done a whole lot of walking around today. We never set foot on a train or a bus, just wandered around the streets of Onjugu, relying on our own memories, reminiscing, laughing together, and having a great time all around. But, last of all, we had ended up here. One street away from the road back to the hotel, near the taxi stop at the station. Our feet stopped automatically, and At last, we started to run low on words. Hey. What are you thinking about? Nothing, really. Liar. A bitter smile came to each of our faces. Oh, for once it's a lie I don't blame Haruki for. It was a warped, pained, faraway expression that no one would mistake for a real smile. We really acted stupid. Oh no, we were stupid. We were absolute idiots. I hadn't planned on coming here. It was too painful, holding too many memories. This was precisely the place that I had wanted to avoid. What's that about? Well, I mean, God, I just remember it now and I just... Quit laughing. You said the same thing then, and you sounded like you were about to cry. But you were crying, laughing and crying at the same time. You don't have to mention that. We had done a lot of crying here. This place was full of firsts for us. The place where we got into a serious fight for the first time. The place where I vented my feelings for the first time. The place where Kazusa let her own feelings spill out for the first time. And, reminiscing is really good for couples, but it can be really, really painful. It's kind of like nostalgia. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's terrible. Sometimes it seems great, but it was terrible, or vice versa. It's dangerous area for these two. Hey. Hey, I said. Yeah, I heard you. What? When I turned, I discovered that Kazusa, who had been watching the road this whole time, just as I had, was now staring straight at me. No, she wasn't just staring at me. Hey, you. She wanted me. Why does it always turn to this? You're more used to it now, aren't you? With me. Why are you so used to this? This was where our lips met for the first time. No, really, it was the second time, as I was often reminded afterward. The two of us made so many mistakes back then. Man, having that many memories on just the side of a street. You know, Kazusa was trying desperately to get back into the taxi, and Haruki basically forced his feelings on her, and she told him about her feelings in return. That was a big, big moment. That was so sad. God. And yet, that was when our relationship truly began. Since then, we had shared one another's feelings. So, come on, one more time, while we're here. Everyone is looking at us. They were looking back then too, but you did it anyway. I was young then. You're still pretty young. So, Haruki, you sound like a pushy little kid. You're old enough to know better than that now. What? Hey, I'm still... Kazusa. Haru. And Kazusa and I, there within full view of all the people and cars passing by, we kissed so passionately that they all looked away. Here, in the place where we first became accomplices. Ooh, I don't like that word. I don't like that they still think of themselves as that, because that is not healthy. They are married. You do not need to be referring to yourselves as accomplices anymore, regardless of what happened in the past. That's just, bad feeling. Gotta shake it off. So, thanks so much for joining me on Chapter 3 of Kazusa's mini after story. and we will continue with more content shortly. So until then, hope you take care. See you!